Good morning, everyone. Today we have a very important and most discussed topic in the space of agentic AI. How do we identify and prioritize agentic AI use cases that will be optimizing the value for the organization? So before I start off, let's look at what is an agentic AI system. I think all of us know about the definition, but just a quick recap. We all know that AI agents has to run autonomously. It has to handle complex steps and systems, and then have to reason and make decisions, right? So autonomy, complexity handling, and decision making are the hallmark of agentic AI system. Now, what we are going to talk is about how do we build certain use cases that can, later stage qualify for agenticity, or agentic use cases for the organization. It is to be noted that not all test cases you have or the agentic cases you have the degree of agenticness. That means some of these use cases doesn't qualify to that level. So the point that I'm mentioning here that you see on the screen is certain questions which you need to ask yourself from your own organizational context. Are you manually handling unpredictable situation and take decisions? If you have those kind of unpredictable situation, probably the use case that you have is qualifying for agentic behavior. Are you manually handling cross-domain topics? Is your ERP is connecting with multiple systems, or within ERP itself you have HR, supply chain, and your manufacturing is talking to each other? Probably this could be a qualification. Do you manually process large amount of unstructured data where you can predict certain outcomes? Finally, based on the dynamic situation that you have to change the content or your outcome. So sometimes if you're a marketing manager, you have to design new campaigns based on the change in the customer behavior. So there is a dynamic input and the situation has to change accordingly. The output also will vary. So once you look at all these boundary conditions, a guideline, and create certain number of use cases, probably you can call them as A, B, C, D, E, you need to look at them or evaluate them into two aspects. One is the qualifying it to agentic status. When I say qualifying it to agentic status means how much of agentic behavior this particular use case can bring in, right? So again, certain conditions are, here on the screen that you can see. Does your process are rule-based and follow the same steps? Then we all know it doesn't need an agentic behavior, right? If your process is only a rule-based, it has fixed outcomes, then you can always either automate it or you can programmatically build it. If you are in an industry where compliance is of higher, degree in demand, then your risk tolerance will be very low. In that case, the need for human intervention would be very high because the consequence of regulatory violations would be very high. So from that perspective, probably you might have less degree of agenticness and you might not get into agentic automation. Third is semi-agentic, you can say, as the graph moves to the right, system proactively suggests insight, just like a GPS system, but you decide when to act. In this case, I can definitely say that the agenticness is at mid-level. And finally, if the use case or the particular scenario you have is where dynamic situations comes in and decisions are taken on the runtime without having any human in the loop. Example, self-driving cars, where self-driving cars hit a hindrance or blockage, it takes its own route. Hardly any driver intervenes to correct the route. So this is the high degree of agenticness that we talk about. So this is one parameter. Now another parameter is the value impact part, right? What is the value that you bring out of this? Value can be measured in different terms. Some of the guidelines are given here. Is there a quantifiable time or cost saving by implementing this use case? If the answer is yes, of course, it has the valid use case qualification. If you handle something very complex, the task which requires a lot of human effort, definitely qualify. Third point is the revenue impact or customer experience improvement because you implement certain things. Definitely, this is going to have wider ramifications and positive way for the organization. And finally, the scalability of this particular use case. If even though you build it or bring it as a prototype in your localized environment, will there be an opportunity to scale it up across your line of businesses or in other subsidiaries or across the countries? So there are two dimensions I talked about. One is the value impact, other is the agentic degree of the particular use case. Now we are going to combine this to decide the prioritization. So I have plotted two graphs here, right? Or one on x-axis, you can see that the qualification to agentic status is being put here. Now it varies from low to medium to high. Second, the other topic, other parameter, value and impact. Again, it varies from low, medium to high. When you plot generic use cases, I have not picked up any particular organizational context. Here I have put something very generic for people to understand it. So for example, meeting scheduler. If that is the use case you have, definitely we can assume that it has less value and it has a low agenticness because it could be automated using a program or a rule-based automation, right? Even grammar checker, the value impact is very less, but it requires some sort of agenticness. That is why, because it's able to self-correct itself, right? That is why it is classified into medium category of agenticness. On the other side, employee onboarding. The agenticness part is very low because it's possible through automation, but then the value impact is very high. But on the other extreme, if you look at the grade where both the parameters are high, autonomous research agent, a research organization will be able to completely end-to-end automate their research topic and bring out the outcome. This will be a very useful use case for them. For something like a contract review agent, in an organization where hundreds and thousands of contract has to be reviewed, it will reduce a lot of manual effort, right? The impact and value is very high, but at the same time, qualification to agentic status is kept as medium because at the end, because of legal framework, legal challenges, there might need to be a human in the loop which need to review and correct it, right? So DevOps agent on one side, the value impact may not be very high, but a DevOps agent can monitor the alert in the pipeline and take corrective actions and remove the blockers and move forward with the deployment. So all these things are going to be something that's going to help you to prioritize use case ideas, right? So the red box that you hear, red square box that I marked, are the one probably that qualify based on the criteria that I've given at this point of time. So your priority one will go to autonomous research, then you can assign the priority of the other three according to the needs of the organization. So I hope you've got an idea right from starting listing down the use case for agenticness, then prioritizing based on the parameters, degree of agenticness and value and impact, and then plotting it in a graph and finally choosing the right candidate for optimizing the agentic behavior for the organization. So with that, I would like to end the presentation. Thanks a lot for the patient listening.